Tonight, a KXAN in-depth report about a problem many new moms keep hidden. Experts say 1 in 7 women battle postpartum depression during pregnancy or after giving birth.
Symptoms can include anxiety, insomnia, difficulty bonding with your baby, and mood swings, among several others. We've discovered in Austin, some moms are turning to an illegal and controversial drug to ease their symptoms.
Has many names: cannabis, pot, weed, marijuana. KXAN investigator Arzo Dos discovered it's a growing trend, and some of these moms might live in your neighborhood.
Well, Robert and Shannon, when you think of someone buying and doing drugs, it might be in a dark alley, but the reality is these are women living in normal neighborhoods in suburbs right here in Central Texas. And look, they admit they're scared. Smoking marijuana could get them arrested and even get their kids taken away. 28 states now allow medical marijuana for a number of conditions, including postpartum depression, but it's still against the law in Texas, which is why moms here wouldn't go on camera. So we look to California, to where it's legal, to share this mom's experience with the drug. For some new moms, life can be dark, lonely, and overwhelming.
Hi.
How are you? For Celia Bihar, it started after giving birth to her oldest daughter.
I couldn't get out of bed. I was sobbing. I didn't feel connected to my daughter. I kept thinking her life would be so much better if I wasn't in it.
Bihar turned to therapy, even Prozac, and its unwanted side effects.
My hands would shake, which I hated. No sleep. It was definitely insomnia, upset stomach, and really bad migraines.
Desperate for help after her second daughter was born, Bihar turned to something she doubted at first: marijuana.
It works right away. It's more natural. There are no lasting side effects to it.
She started smoking it at night once her kids were asleep.
My rage was gone. I mean, I didn't have that anymore.
She later moved on to cannabis oils, lotions,
Bath salts.
and even cookies, chocolate, and gummies. It's a stigma that's slowly fading where Bihar lives. Doctors in California can't write prescriptions, but they can now recommend cannabis to their patients.
What I'm allowed to do is approve a patient so that they would be exempt from any criminal accusation or prosecution based on my approval.
Dr. Bonnie Goldstein is the medical director of LA-based Canna Centers. Her patients use cannabis to treat cancer, autism, and postpartum depression.
These are not people who are saying, let's get high. These are people who are saying, I have a real situation going on. I've seen my doctor, I've tried this medication, and it's not working. I need a different solution.
Is this safe?
It's quite safe, and it may work, and we have the system in our brain that may be imbalanced, and this plant may be the answer to put it back into balance.
I would not feel comfortable providing it for a new mom because I don't know the risks.
Dr. Carly Snyder is one of the nation's leading postpartum experts and says there's not enough research to support moms using marijuana safely.
There are limited studies that suggest that there may be some motor delay for babies who are exposed to the metabolites of marijuana via breast milk.
2 years ago, state lawmakers legalized small amounts of cannabis oil, but for certain patients with severe forms of epilepsy. The Texas Compassionate Use Act passed overwhelmingly in the Senate and by about 2/3 in the House. When he signed it into law, Governor Greg Abbott made it clear this would not open the door to legalize marijuana in Texas. But the bill's co-author, Senator Jose Menendez, says it leaves out a lot of people who need treatment.
We're making criminals out of people who want to feel better.
This session, Menendez has filed a bill to cover more debilitating medical conditions, including PTSD.
All I'm trying to do is allow for medical doctors to be able to, in consultation with their patients, decide which course of medication is best for them.
And since KXAN told him about the moms secretly using here in Austin, he says postpartum depression should be considered.
I really want them to have a voice. I want them to feel that they're not alone.
Someone has to start talking about it. I think moms have power a lot more than we're given credit for sometimes.
Now, I started looking into this story about 6 months ago because postpartum depression was something I dealt with after my second son was born. I understand the condition alone is tough to talk about. When you add marijuana to the conversation, it's clear why the moms I met here in Central Texas were hesitant. One of them did write me, though. She says, playing dolls and Legos, reading the same book dozens of times in one day is something I can now do with joy and mindfulness. After doing my research, I determined that this is something that helps me so immensely that I would be irresponsible to bypass. Now, she also told me that it was actually her therapist who recommended she try marijuana in the first place.
Arzo, what about the women, though, who smoke pot while they're pregnant?
Well, Shannon, experts say there's just not enough research on that right now. A new study out just last month found there's a strong indication of reduced birth weight for pregnant women, but weak evidence of any effects on pregnancy complications for the mother or the child.
And so much of the legal concerns have to do with the children.
Absolutely. Here in Texas, keep in mind, it takes just one complaint or allegation of substance abuse for the state to launch an investigation of child endangerment.
All right, Arzo, thank you very much.
Can marijuana be addictive?
It can be, and that's one of those things that people get very confused about because it acts differently than other drugs.
Online now at KXAN.com, we take you to the Austin Recovery Center in Buda, known for its treatment program for mothers and their babies. It's the only one in Central Texas, and officials say they have seen the dangers of moms using marijuana.
We know that there's a genetic predisposition to becoming addicted, and if there's any potential for that, it's best not to touch it at all.
Plus, resources if you know someone dealing with postpartum depression or a drug addiction. And more personal stories from the moms who sparked this story right now on our homepage, KXAN.com. Then tomorrow, we track the next steps in the marijuana legislation in our story as both sides square off at the Capitol. Complete coverage on air and online starting on KXAN News Today at 4:30.